for joining this particular business analyst course. We have been talking about this particular course since long, and it's been almost 14-15 days since we have started this particular course. Until now, we have covered the introductory part of the business analyst course and also looked into the collaboration with a stakeholder and this customer discovery, business mapping, and requirements. So this has already been covered till now, and even we have been looking forward with the requirement side. This has also been covered, and then we have moved forward with our user stories. So in user stories, we have been covering few things. Then we will be looking forward with the UAT, the user acceptance testing. So in the introduction part, we have looked into the comparison between admin and the BA side, looked into the skills related to the business analyst and why the best practices are there, what are the best practices, how why we needed to be a detective, and what are the different models involved in the development life cycles. And then we have talked about the collaboration with the stakeholders. In that particular thing, we have looked into the whiteboarding and how we can view the customer into a 360 degree, and what are the method to influence a client and the stakeholder, and how we can build a relationship with them. And then we have moved forward with our sales side of the business analyst, where we have looked into the best practices and why sales is a part in our day-to-day life, and what are the alignment, why alignment is necessary in our Salesforce success. So these things has been covered in the sales side, and also looked into the prototyping. Then we have moved forward with the customer discovery, where we have looked into the customer is the center part, and based on the particular model like V2MOM, and why governance is being involved, what are their basics, and how we can develop the content based on certain strategies. Then we have started with our Salesforce journey, where we have started from the basics and then covering the security and the tools which has been involved in the process, or you can say with the help of those kind of technological tools we can monitor the success of a process. So in that scenario, we have looked into the Jira, SignNow, Smartsheet, Confluence, Gantt chart, and Trello. So these kind of tools which are being helpful for the project management person, and which has been used by the business analyst. So we also looked into these things, and then we have jumped towards the business mapping, or you can say the process for mapping a journey of a customer. There we have looked into the diagrams. We also looked into why they are necessary in order to understand the successful business process basically. And then we have looked into the requirement side, how we can get a requirement from the customer, what are their basics, how we can get a good understanding while writing a document, and what are their document types which is being needed in our throughout journey, and how we can write those document. So we looked into the five key steps. And then we have looked into the requirements which we just covered, and then turned to our journey into the user stories. So yesterday itself, not yesterday but the day before yesterday, we have covered the user stories thing, like how user stories are important, why they has to been there, what are exactly user stories, what are the steps involved in writing the stories, and consideration related to the user stories. Then we have also looked into the acceptance criteria. Based on the user stories, we have certain acceptance criteria. Then we have been looking into the user experience basics, and then we have moved forward what are the pillars related to the UX, or you can say what are the basic thing which is been needed to build that particular UX, or you can say use user experience. And then we have also looked into the UI and UX differences. Then today we will be looking into the design thinking side. Design thinking is also a part of a business analyst curriculum. We will be looking into the design thinking today, and then we will be looking forward with our users, or you can say user experience. What are the key principle involved in the UX, and how we can ensure that particular customer system is being you know uh, accurate enough to build a particular process. What are their evaluation metrics, and then we will be looking forward with our sandbox access considerations in tomorrow's session. So today we will be looking into the design thinking, why design thinking is important, what exactly design thinking is all about, how does design thinking basically work for BA, and then what are the process involved in this particular design thinking, what are the key principles for BA basically to apply for design thinking. So today we will be looking forward with the design thinking. Till now, is there any kind of doubts? Please do let me know. So before moving forward, just let me know, is there any queries or questions which you have in your mind? Yes, Mohit, you raised a hand.
Can I get previous dates recording or something?
Sure, we have that thing in our Slack channel, and even you can look into the YouTube, where you have get the all recordings which we have covered so far.
Got it. Thank you. Matlab,
Okay, yeah. So apart from this, is there any kind of queries? You please do let me know.
Can you please share your YouTube channel details or something so I can follow that?
All right, all right. So just in a minute.
this I already dropped a playlist.
Sorry.
Is It's a complete playlist for your by your name channel, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. With my name, you can get a playlist. You just search it out, Naman Markan, and you get a playlist. No issues. Just allow me a minute. I will be sharing in the chat itself.
Got it. I
Got
got
it.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you very much.
no issues. Completely fine. So till now we have covered almost a majority of the part of our business analyst course, and previously we were trying our level best to complete this particular course by 15th of July. But the thing is, like, we have few people, those who are new to this particular, you can say, a Salesforce ecosystem, and even they wanted to learn business analyst from the scratch. That's why we have scratched our course little bit, and we will be trying our level best to complete it by 20th July. And on a daily basis, we have been covering each and every segmentations of the business analyst. So after this particular course, for sure you will be able to fight for the exam, which has been Salesforce business analyst certification. And you can pursue that kind of course in the you can say from the Trailhead itself. And if you looked into the segmentations which we have covered so far, you can easily understand most of the part has already been understood. So this is the aim for this particular course, and I believe by end of this particular course you people can able to fight for the exam. So with this particular aim, let's start with our design thinking. Okay. So today we will be talking about the design thinking. So you can understand design thinking is kind of approach which help, or you can say enable business analyst to solve complex problem, right? Because whatever the problems the person is getting, with the help of proper understanding of the requirement, or you can say a proper approach, a business analyst can solve that particular problem which they are facing, right? So but on a user centric point of view, you can say there are many iterations which involved while building a particular solutions. So in the design thinking approach, which is a way for a BA to create a well defined product or well defined process that definitely gonna meet the enterprise expectations, right? Because you are focusing on the right problems and finding the right solution with the help of right design thinking approach. So while delivering, you can say, the product to the client, you should have a full understanding. We have this kind of approach. We have used this process to get this desired result, and you can say it is a process why you can gather requirement from the client side, manage all the stakeholders, and deliver their objectives, right? So with the help of design thinking, you can deliver what exactly they wanted to have as an end result. Okay, so there are four basics which I have mentioned. You can say four basic tenets, or the principle, you can say. So in this particular principles, the design thinking involve the understanding part. So you need to first understand the requirement, then you need to explore all the areas related to the improvement for your business process, or you need to explore the information related to those particular requirement. Once you explore all the areas, then you have to make a prototype, or you can say a replica of what is being needed, right? So once you are clear with your understanding, once you have understand and explore all the areas related to the requirement, then you have to make sure that you can able to produce a replica of what exactly we needed. Once you done, you should evaluate the result. Evaluate, like you should test the outcome, and there are various performance metrics which we have covered so far. With those kind of metrics, you can help, you can get an idea what my particular process involved person, or stage is performing, how it's been performing. So you had to measure the performance of each and everyone those who are involved. So with these kind of basic principle, you can build a design thinking approach. But how you can understand, but how this design thinking work, you know the thing is like you can build the design thinking, but how it's going to be work. So you know what, in the enterprise or any company, you can say the design thinking approach basically involve the sensitivity and the perspective of the designer, because you are building a process in terms of your designer or in terms of stakeholders, right? In order to align those kind of needs and those kind of objective, you should be able to align those needs with the technology which has been available with you, or which with the tools which has been available with you, right? So what BAs are trying, they are trying to winning that particular business strategies, which is going to be a real maker for your market, right? So it might be sounds familiar because you are dealing on a day-to-day basis, or might be not dealing on a day-to-day basis, but you should at least have an understanding how we needed to understand the requirement first, then we need to design that requirement in terms of technologies which are being available. So BA is doing this kind of job on a day-to-day basis, despite of what exactly requirement gathering point. They are also doing this kind of job on a day-to-day basis, right? So we can say design thinking is good business analyst tool, or you can say it's a good approach which is help you to apply that particular design thinking in order to get an desired result, right? So basically you should be able to aware what design thinking offers and how this has been different from the traditional business analyst process. So previously what we do, from the iterative kind of thing, like from the bottom up approach, but this is not exactly what design thinking is all about, because we BA might not only taking the requirement, they are also building an approach, right? And even not they are making the documents in order to we get a desired result. They are not only focused on those kind of document, they are only focusing on the end result with the help of proper approach, right? So what we do in a design thinking approach, basically we should get an understanding about the context related to the uh, client or the stakeholder, and the motivation behind those kind of contexts, or you can say motivation behind those kind of requirements, right? in order to solve the complex business goals, right? So these kind of principles help to build the design. Remember, you know what, the product are built from the bottom up, not from the top down, right? Because we have to understand the first bottom line, then we can approach it to the top, right? So you can say that a design thinking is basically required the iteration and collaboration across every department of, or you can say those who are involved, just to provide the critical output, what exactly we needed, right? And this has been supported with the help of what, the prototyping which we have built previously, right? Because you are now in a stage where you have to evaluate your product, right? So then you can say the team come up with the with their particular hypothesis, or might be they are mocking up with them in the prototypes, just to narrow down the solution. So in this particular stage you are just evaluating, or you are just narrowing down what exactly we needed, or might be possible that this is a phase in your process, because you are narrowing down the possible solution for further prototyping as well. So sometimes that also, help is also the case, because you are narrowing down just for the next prototyping or for the next evaluation. So that is also the case, you also need to understand that part. But this is how our design thinking approach is work, because this help us to give a full understanding about the context, or you can say the requirement. Okay, so it's totally based upon the approach which is being involved during the process which you are going to follow in order to get a full understanding about the end result. This is based upon the personas of the stakeholder, or you can say the client. Am I clear? Is there any doubt? All right. Okay. So basically, design thinking is only about, getting iteration and the collaboration with each and everyone those who are involved, and it's a approach to get a end result with a full understanding. And this particular design thinking approach involve these kind of four principles. Okay, so we have talked about what exactly design thinking is all about, and how this particular design thinking involved, what are the principles. But how this particular design thinking works for BA, this is kind of iteration and collaboration, right? So this is basically what just we have covered, like the iteration and collaboration with the across each and every department, or you can say the team involved, whatever the team are, like might be they are QA, might be they are testers, might be they are developers, admins, anyone those who are involved during the process, just to provide a critical input throughout that particular process. So this has been supported with the help of prototyping and crowd thinking. And we just talked about the products which we has to build from the bottom up, not from the top side. Just we need to look for the bottom approach, and then we will be looking forward to the top. In order to reach from the bottom to top, we have to understand each and everything which has been involved, and that approach is called design thinking. Okay, so let's move forward with the process. So how design thinking, process work, what exactly design process is, how we can build that particular approach, how we can understand that, okay, now we will be able to deliver the full furnished product to the client. So there are few phases while building this particular design process. So the first one is problem definition. In problem definition, you should have a, understanding about the problem, the bigger problem which client has been facing, and based on that particular problem you should come up with some kind of a solution, or you can say some kind of mission or vision to your client, which you can provide just to give them a particular understanding how you will be able to solve this kind of problem. Okay, and with the help of some tools which has been written in the slide itself, that BA toolbox in this particular problem definition phase is mission and vision statements, and even the domain mapping and context diagram. So this particular tools or are kind of statements or documents is help you to understand the problem which is customer is been facing. Okay. And then once you have an understanding about the problem, you've worked on it related to the information, related to the requirements. You research those kind of information from the client side, from the you google it out, and you talked about them from your team, from your stakeholder, and each and everyone those who are involved. So you collect as much as information you wanted while getting that particular problem requirement, and then you understand that okay, these are the problems which the client is facing. I just need to work it around. Whatever information is available related to this particular problem, I should document it. So you research that kind of uh, problem statement, you research and gather all those things, and then once it's been completed, based on your investigation, based on your communication with the stakeholder and users, you move to the third phase, which is ideate. Ideate, it's like and how we can do that, the phase 2, with the help of some tools, uh, workshops, surveys, analysis, requirement analysis, these kind of documents, and these kind of tools, or you can say a method, which help the particular business analyst to gather and to gather the requirements and to research on a particular information or the problem. Once it's been done, then you move forward with the phase 3, which is ideate. And in this particular phase, what you do, you create different teams and present the problem to them in order to understand what exactly the problem which customer has been facing. You present that problem to the different team which has been involved, and the need for this particular process is showing or presented to the different teams, and then generate an ideas based on the collaboration, based on the different team communication, based on the research, based on the requirement gathering documents, right? Remember whatever we have discussed so far, the research part, the requirement gathering part, this is all in a phase 3, which is right in the idea. So all ideas are valid, particularly right till now. So whatever the ideas you will come up with, or might be customer is coming up with, or might be team is coming up with, all are valid. Once it's been finalized, then you move forward with the prototype, because you need to transfer your ideas into a final prototypes, right? So how you can generate an idea, with the help of workshops, or you can have some kind of association, some kind of brainstorming, idea generation kind of games, these kind of improvement activities. This is how particular person can generate an idea. Once the idea has been finalized, then you move forward to the prototype, and then which means that you need to transfer the idea in, or you generate that particular idea to the fully furnished product or process, right? Because this prototype means you have already gone deeper into the specification, and testing can be done, right? And users are able to understand what exactly the end result will look like, and even they can compare from the criteria which you have set, whatever you have preset. They can compare those things across all the prototypes, right? Or might be they can compare all the possible solutions. So in this particular prototype stage, you just transfer all those ideas into a fully furnished product. Once it's done, each step of the prototyping is being done based on the justification, based on the communication. Then you move forward with the phase 5, which is selection. So each prototype can be judged based on the comparison criteria, right? Or might be can be abandoned, that okay, this is not going to work at all. And after the comparison, you select the best prototype solution. Then you should have a feeling that okay, with this particular solution, the best solution, the stakeholder will able to you know uh, understand, or you are justifying your prototype to the stakeholder. Then, once it's done, you move forward with the sixth phase, which is a test and experiment. So, you test the prototype solution here in this particular phase. But before testing, you make sure that the performance indicator, which you have which we basically have covered in the previous slides, that the matrix for each and everyone those who are involved. So that kind of indicators, or you can say KPIs, should be able to fulfill, because you are now in a testing side, you are now in a testing phase. So each and everything should be work perfectly as expected. Once it's been done, based on how we can test this, based on the surveys, based on the testing tools, KPIs, or you can say the pre-built metrics. And then you can move forward with the reflect side, or reflect phase, which means that you are now able to take the feedback from the customer, right? Or might be you can reflect back that okay, each and everything is been done, you need to retest it again or not. Then if we need it, then you retest it again and then redefine the particular process. If necessary, you should also go back to the drawing board, the initial stage, or the ideation, or the prototyping all over again, because design thinking is basically an agile and gives you a understanding or flexibility, which you can use this particular design thinking process in order to go back to the from where you have started. This basically allows you to have that kind of flexibility, right? So if needed, go back to the drawing stage, no issues. But that this is what exactly design thinking process is all about, from the problem statement, from the problem definition basically, till the reflection of the particular product. Okay, is there any doubt or queries? uh,
It's clear. Yes.
okay. All right. So we are just a few in numbers, and even today I might have to, jump to another meeting, and that is basically my office meeting. So I might not be able to continue further. But this is what design thinking is all about, and how design thinking is working, and what are the principles involved in the design thinking. This is what basically related to the design thinking. So in conclusion, we can say that design thinking have to be easy enough to understand, and this approach gives a full furnished outcome. Basically, business analysts have to be analytical, because it's a part of their job description, right, after all. So gone are the days when BAs are taking the requirement side, but now people are working into the agile side, which has been more dynamic. And BAs are has to be creative thinker in order to solve the complex business problems. So just think in that particular design thinking approach, and based on the user centering outcomes, you should make sure that design thinking can fulfill your idea, or fulfill your product. So you can say design thinking can function as a roadmap for BA, right? Who wanted to maintain that particular user centric approach, so that the stakeholder or the client can engage and apply that kind of design thinking approach in their particular business framework. So by introducing a designer mindset into analytical process, BAs can manage the requirements more effectively, right? So this is basically all about the related to the design thinking, and this is analytical itself effective enough to gives a particular outcome. And based on this particular design thinking approach, you can validate the design based on the evidence, right? So basically help you to build better product. So this is basically our design thinking is all about. So today we will be only looking forward with the design thinking part. What we have covered so far is the introductory part of design thinking, and how does design thinking work for BAs, and what are the process involved while making a design thinking approach. So with this, I'm wrapping today's session, but we will be covering with our UAT tomorrow for sure, uh, which basically involved the principles in related to the UX, and some kind of consideration in our sandbox. So sorry, today we will be wrapping early, uh, but tomorrow we will be covering other part as well.
Okay, sure. Thank you,
Right?
Namaste. Yes.
So do let me know, is there any kind
Yes.
of queries? Feel free to reach out to me.